You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since first grade, now dads, reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm JB Wagner.
And I'm Eddie Ferguson. And on today's episode, we climb into a big piece of fruit and float to New York City to make sure we're not eaten by a rhino like our parents were, as we review James and the Giant Peach. But first, JB, how are you and the family doing?
About as hesitant as our intros for today's thing. We're recording this on July 5th, and we, like everybody else, are a part of all the fireworks and festivities for July 4th, Independence Day. Spent our annual July 4th watching National Treasure, the first one.
That's a great tradition.
It's become our tradition. We started several years ago. I think 2014, maybe. I think it was when we started. 2013 or 2014, I went up to Big Bear when I was still living in Los Angeles, and went up with a bunch of friends, and we watched. We had nothing to do while we were just hanging out. And we were like, anyone want to watch a movie? What? We should watch a 4th of July style movie. Someone was like, Independence Day? Nah, I just watched that. And someone was like, what about National Treasure? And then we watched it the next year. And then my wife came up, and it was basically every year on 4th of July, especially now that it's on Disney Plus. So now it's free for us. So easy. We watch that every single year at some point in it. And my son loves it too. So he I think after this one, he was like, that was a good movie. He like gave the thumbs up. The thing that got kind of the sideways thumb, it's the love-hate with my son and fireworks. So this is the second year in a row we went to a coworker's house, and they're on a cul-de-sac with many different neighbors. They come together and they throw like this little block party or whatever. Grill out, and then at the end of the day, as it gets dark, someone pulls out a bunch of fireworks. And this year was amazing. They not only were setting off fireworks on the cul-de-sac, so we're just like looking up into the sky, and they were going off. We can see 360 around us, all these other neighborhoods that are all sending off their own individual fireworks. There's not like a community. This is the one you go see. It's like all the rednecks get out and they pull out their fireworks, and we're literally surrounded by them. But my son he's both not a huge fan of loud noises. And at one point decided that he was done, and he went back inside the coworker's home. But then as we're leaving, he's come back out, and he's now more intrigued by it. He's wearing these massive, headphones that you would wear at like whatever a drag NASCAR race or something like that, monster truck rally. He's wearing those.
Wow, did we grow up in Indiana?
Oh yeah, we did. Yes, we did. So he's wearing that, but he's both loving it and also hating it. And then as we're trying to leave, he is trying to run out and touch the fireworks because he wants to hold a firework.
Sure.
And it's just chaos. And we kind of started with some small ones like smoke bombs and sparklers and other things. But then they set off a few early that were like more dangerous. And so then we're like ripping him out of the cul-de-sac. Like, you have to stay on the grass, but he's not wanting to. So then I have him on my shoulders. It was chaos. But all in all, it was a cool night. So,
but fun. The same thing happens here. Everybody is shooting off fireworks. Even though the town is doing like a giant display just right over there, everybody is just shooting off a ton.
Their own, yep.
We usually go for a walk in the morning, and today as we walked, it was just like littered with, the remnants of fireworks all over.
Yep.
We went by the end of their driveway, and they had piled all of the boxes of used fireworks up at the end. And they had these massive like boxes the size of like a pizza box, but super thick. And you just light one fuse, and then it'll boom, shoot these huge ones up. And I counted how many of those boxes there were and how much the cost of each of those boxes were.
Wow, some math here.
some math because I'm like, these people must spend. There was at least $2,500 to $3,000.
$2,500 to $3,000.
Yeah, $2,500 to $3,000 worth of cardboard.
Wow.
Down here at the end of their driveway, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money just to light on fire. But yes, I like your tradition of a movie. There was a couple of years there where I would try and watch The Patriot on 4th of July or 4th of July weekend.
Probably not as easy to watch with your son, but okay.
No, not at all. And then I'm a big fan of the HBO series John Adams.
Yes, we watched many of that together.
So I will often find myself, there's a particular scene, and I think it's in the second or third episode, where they pass the Declaration of Independence, and it's a pretty moving sequence. So I always try and watch that episode, or at least that segment.
I'm so surprised. I'm so surprised that Independence Day is not your go-to like every single year. It has everything. It's got your
everything
favorite director. It's got
you watched
End of the World. Yes, we watched that July 3rd. And it was primarily because someone had brought it up in a meeting earlier that week about how their favorite scene is the president's speech in that. And I think he actually came out and redid it.
It's a commercial.
I haven't seen it.
Who did it for a commercial?
Probably for Spanx
really
or something.
Funny.
Something just random.
It was really random.
For Sprite.
I think it was a hard seltzer or something like that.
Of course it was. That sounds about right.
Everything's hard seltzer
right now. Yeah.
That should be. I should add that one to the list. That's a really good one.
We were about to rent it, and then my wife was like, wait a minute, I think I have this on DVD. So it felt even more nostalgic because we were able to watch it on a lower quality.
Yes.
Kind of feels older. Yeah, that was great.
Now, last year, the big rage was Hamilton. Did
that come out on 4th of July? It
came out on July 3rd last year.
My wife stayed up all night and waited till it came out and then watched it through the night.
That was a big deal for us. We were quite excited because we had only listened to the cast recording. So it was like, ooh, this is fun. Yep. This is exciting.
Oh no, I definitely remember staying. Like I listened to it and I had no context for anything other than what my wife had told me. So I was very like that. Yeah, that was a great experience last year, being able to watch the actual thing. I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about. And then the things you can't like translate on audio, like him foaming at King George foaming at the mouth, which is my favorite character in Hamilton. He is easily my favorite.
Well, and Jonathan Groff is just so good. I like him as Kristoff.
Kristoff in Frozen.
Mm-hmm. If we had listeners, we could pause and do a listener poll right now. And because I would be interested if we were to do a vote and see what would be the go-to 4th of July movie.
Yes.
And we've got to be missing one, right? There's got to be a big...
I was trying to think.
I know one of the Die Hard sequels happens on a 4th of July.
Well, I'm pretty... Is it the Live Free or Die Hard? Is that the one that is on 4th of July?
The one with Justin Long one.
Yep.
Bruce Willis has got to hate that it's referred to as the Justin Long one.
Evidently. So here's just when I did popular Independence Day movies. We have Independence Day. We have The Sandlot, A League of Their Own, 1776, Miracle, Top Gun,
Miracle,
Captain America,
okay,
The First Avenger, The Patriot, National Treasure, American Tail, Hamilton,
American Tail,
Lincoln,
Five-O,
Air Force One. Now I just don't even know why people are Armageddon. That feels like it should have been up there earlier, but
Armageddon, written by who wrote Armageddon? Come on, JB.
Well, I can just click on it right here and I can tell you in 2 seconds, or you can just say it out loud.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams wrote it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man. Produced by Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer. Incredible.
Every great screenwriter has to have that one credit where you're like, really? My favorite, M. Night Shyamalan, wrote Stuart Little.
Yes, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Also, I would have to say that I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the first Avengers movie,
Joss Whedon,
is also the writer of Toy Story.
Yes.
That's a good one too.
I remember talking about that in our episode on Toy Story. Well, you know that we're always, whenever we drag out the beginning here, we're always a little reluctant to get to the actual movie that we're reviewing. So we're just going to drag this out a little bit longer.
I don't feel quite the same way as I did last week. Last week was a low moment. That's painful. But anyways.
So we're looking at new movies coming out or new things coming to Disney Plus in July. I feel like more and more they're just stepping up their game to make Disney Plus just constantly relevant. I don't know if you heard, but apparently releasing Loki on a Wednesday has just like blown through the roof the viewership in one time.
Oh, nice. Well, probably because it's not on the weekend.
Right. And so more and more, it looks like they're going to consider Friday releases for new big stuff like that more and more. So, but yeah, you mentioned The Sandlot as a 4th of July movie. It came out on Disney Plus just on July 2nd. I guess that must have come to them in the Fox acquisition. And then this weekend, July 7th, we finally get the Monsters Incorporated or Monsters at Work series coming to Disney Plus, and they're going to do a 1 episode a week release, kind of like some of the bigger stuff there. And then also this weekend, that's going to be July 7th, so Wednesday, when this episode of our podcast releases. And then we get a ton of shark stuff. I guess National Geographic is trying to match the Discovery Channel in shark content.
Shark Beach with Chris Hemsworth.
Uh-huh.
I don't even understand most of this stuff. Like,
but there's orca versus great white, rogue shark, when sharks attack, world's biggest bull shark. I mean, it's how many possible shark things could we come up with? But yes, the croc that ate Jaws.
What?
Yes.
Now we're just getting into the Sci-Fi Channel.
Shark Attack, Shark Gangs. We Bought a Zoo. Oh, no, that's the Matt Damon movie. World's Deadliest Sharks.
Seriously, what is going on? How much shark content do they need?
Files. Playing with Sharks.
I'm so confused right now.
I know. We also have a new TV series. It is a reboot of the Tom Hanks classic Turner and Hooch. They are making a whole series on that one. So that should be very interesting. That's coming out. We get new Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, which is a big hit in our house. We love the new style of Mickey cartoons. I know most people, it's like love it or hate it. There's like very little middle ground on that one.
Yep. I see a lot of Gordon Ramsay in here in a new series. Is he taking over for what's his name, who used to do that traveling cooking show?
The Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. It kind of seems that way. This is like this is the 3rd season, and I think a 4th season is coming out right now.
Wow.
My wife loves this one. And it's pretty good. I've watched a few episodes with her.
Interesting.
Gordon Ramsay's just does everything.
Yeah, he does.
It's like how many times in a day can he be on TV in one way or another?
Well, I'm just very excited that I know that we kind of previewed this a while back, but now that Fast 9 has come out, we've got Black Widow coming out this coming Friday. As you're listening to this, we are days away from the first big Marvel feature film coming out in theaters.
In like a year and a half.
In a year and a half. It's been crazy long time. What was the last one? Last one was that Spider-Man, or was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Far From Home. And then we and then end of the month, we'll get another Disney movie. Your favorite ride at Disneyland, Jungle Cruise.
I am so excited for this movie.
With The Rock.
I'm a little nervous just because anytime I get too excited for a movie, I'm often let down. Did you see the whole Instagram war, quote unquote, between The Rock and Emily Blunt?
No.
Like they were going back and forth releasing their own trailers with themselves being the main character, and then Emily would release one. And then they were just like making fun of each other back and forth with Instagram videos.
That makes me happy. That's the kind of stuff
funny.
I'm here for. You know, also is great Emily Blunt video to watch is her taking a lie detector. I don't know which publication it was for, but it's on YouTube. It's Emily Blunt taking a lie detector, and they ask her in the middle of it, which version of The Office is better.
I'll have to watch that.
It's good.
No, one of the funniest things that I've seen with this whole Jungle Cruise thing is there was like a promo video with The Rock and Emily Blunt like standing right next to each other, and The Rock, midway through answering a question or whatever, pretends that Emily Blunt has just goosed him and like, you know, squeezes his butt from behind, and he's like, whoa, what did you know? She blushes and is like super mad. She's like, no, I didn't. I really didn't. And it's like right in the middle of something like super professional. I'm like, if this is their chemistry just in the promo stuff, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the movie comes out to be.
Wish that I could have rode the ride recently, because like, you know how like you're going up for a sequel or whatever, and you gotta
they're changing it. Like they've revamped the whole. They're in the process of doing it.
But I'm just saying, like, you normally like rewatch a series, like if they're going to do a new Harry Potter film, you'd watch the old ones or whatever. Just feel like, oh, it'd be great to go on the ride, then go watch this, which is awesome because like at Disneyland in California, there's an AMC theater in downtown Disney where you could go ride the ride, and then you can go straight out to the AMC right there. And watch whatever that would have been a cool experience. But granted, I'm going to just remember all the little nuggets from forever ago. Last time I got
for my birthday the Jungle Cruise game.
Ooh.
Which it's a little complicated, but it's a lot of fun. We really like it. It's got all of.
Eddie,
in other words, JB would hate it. Exactly. I would love it.
If you have to start with, hey, we're going to play a new game, it's a little complicated. I'm out. Before you can finish that sentence, I'm out. I'm out of here. So
my sister taught me a new card game that you would love. It's very simple, straightforward.
What was it called?
Play 9.
That sounds simple. I like
Play
that.
9.
We'll have to add that to the next time I'm in Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you love playing card games all the time.
All the time. It makes my wife sad. But anyways, that's here nor there. We are here not to talk about Disney Plus or about fireworks and all of the things. We are here to talk about another Tim Burton film. We were coming back to Tim Burton a little bit quite often here.
Tim Burton-ish, right? It's produced.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you have some nuggets of wisdom for us as we today talk about, in episode 43, this is about James and the Giant Peach.
Cue the Disney sound effect.
Okay, so IMDb description for James and the Giant Peach is thus. Okay. An orphan who lives with his two cruel aunts befriends anthropomorphic bugs who live inside of a giant peach, and they embark on a journey to New York City. ... Why would you put anthropomorphic in a slug line for like a major film? You've lost so many people by putting a word like that. It's a big word, big unnecessary word. You can just say he befriends massive bugs.
Bugs that act like humans. Boom.
You don't have to say that. Just he befriends massive bugs. And it's like, what are you talking about? Now you got me. Not anthropomorphic bugs. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we're not supposed to be saying stupid. That's a word we were trying to get my son to stop saying. So if you're listening to this, don't. But anyways,
so,
Eddie.
Was this a go-to movie in the Wagner household?
No, I'm pretty sure I've never sat down and watched this entire thing before. This is my first time today doing that. How about you?
So next week I'll have to share a little bit more about this, but my niece and nephews have started listening to our podcast. And so they were asking me what movie we were reviewing next when we were hanging out over 4th of July. And when I said James and the Giant Peach, my sister was like, "Oh, that movie? Did we ever even finish that as a kid?"
I can see Martha saying that. Oh.
Yeah. And I have to, I remember starting to watch this as a kid and turning it off.
What was it? What was it that made you so disgusted?
Well, and let me just make a confession here and now.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm your confessional booth right now.
I did it again this time.
Did you turn it off?
This is the first movie
you did not
43 finish. Episodes. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't get through it.
What was going on? Take us through the moment that you clicked off of this film.
I just I don't like and it's not even the stop motion or claymation. I enjoy that. I actually found myself spending more time researching what is this genre and why don't I like it very much. And from what I can find is it's like what they call like this macabre, right? Where it is very kind of death oriented and just odd. I think even the line of anthropomorphic bugs, it's just such a good encapsulation of it all. Like I even find myself, especially the Tim Burton version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is the same author, right? Roald Dahl. Like I just don't, these styles of stories and stuff like that, like I don't track with all.
Is there any Tim Burton film that you like?
Oh, for sure. Like I love his Batman movies. I think they're really good. I loved Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber.
That's all about death. It's like it's
Planet
Tim
of
Burton.
the Apes. I really liked Planet of the Apes.
Wait a minute, he did Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, he did one of the first ones, and that was really good. Like before they did the series.
How old is that Planet of the Apes one then?
His is really good. 2001 with Mark Wahlberg. I really like that one. Oh, and I love Edward Scissorhands. I think Edward Scissorhands is great.
I'm so confused now. Oh, I've never seen this version. No, I haven't.
What?
I have not seen. I've only seen the newer Planet of the Apes that is like brilliantly.
I own this version on DVD. That's how big of how much I enjoy it.
So funny. The latest ones are incredible. I absolutely love them.
Oh,
but maybe,
for sure.
Maybe
for
this.
sure.
Okay, good. I didn't know if we had to start a fight here or whatever. Oh, Miracle of All Miracles. Guess who's in Planet of the Apes? It's in every Tim Burton film. Helena Bonham Carter. She's in every single one of her ex-husband's movies. So
this is true.
It's funny. Oh, there's a lot of big people in there. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know what it is. The whole feel and style.
So what was the last scene that you were just like, and cut? I'm done. Did you even get into the peach? Did you get into the peach?
We're in the peach. We're floating down the ocean, and I'm just like.
So you did not get to the underwater anything. You didn't get to that part.
No, I was doing a little bit of, scrubbing and getting forward in it, and I'm just like, I just can't do it. Like it's different than like Homeward Bound, where I'm going, yeah, this is boring. I'm uninterested, but I can at least sit here and do something else while I'm watching it. This, I just want it off.
I just want it off.
I don't want to.
That's so funny.
It's such a weird reaction to it all. Like, I find the boy annoying. I found the ants annoying.
See, I loved My Name is James. That song is so sad and so like heart. Like, I just want all the best things for this little kid, and he's in the worst situation possible. You're right. His ants are so gruesome. They kind of. I was trying to watch this on my laptop while my son was sitting next to me, and then eventually he started looking across, and then he got really engaged in it. And so then I had to like take off my headphones and like unplug it so then he could watch alongside of me. But when the ants come back near the end, he was like, "Oh, I don't like these people."
Yeah, and I know this is supposed to be, I mean, what is even the term? Because it's not like pure. Is it allegory? Is it,
what do you mean allegory? Why do you?
Well, I mean, his parents were not killed by a rhino.
Oh, I definitely didn't have enough time to look into what were they meaning by rhino. Is rhino short for something?
Right.
That was like a very weird out of left field thing to say your parents got killed by a rhino. The rhino does show up back later on and try to take him out, and is unsuccessful. Spoiler alert, you've had time to watch this. But no, for me, I was on the fence because for about half the movie, I was like, I'm going to go through this. What kept me going was just the intricacy of the typical Tim Burton claymation stuff where it's like, man, he spent so much time designing these things, and even the fence that's like making up the staircase around it and inside of it. There's so many like little details. He has this like dream in the middle of it. The boy does. And his ants come out to attack him, and one of his ants is named Sponge, or Spongy or something like that, and she's made of sponge in it, and there's like little details like that. But the big moment, and you missed it, you didn't stay long enough, Eddie, where they get lost, and they all come after the centipede, and they're all just like, you said you knew what you're doing. And it's like, well, I was really stuck between 2 pages of National Geographic, and that's my traveling experience. So they're like, oh man, we're lost. We need a compass or something. And they look down, and there are ships in the icy frozen water, and the centipede dives in to save everybody, and does this heroic act. And when he goes down there, he's down there in trying to grab this compass, and then the skeletons comes up, and Jack Skellington, basically a lookalike Jack Skellington, is fighting him. There's all this underwater stuff. The spider and Jack and James fly in there to help him too. It's a very heroic scene, and they all come back out just a bigger sense of camaraderie and togetherness. And I thought it was the scene that kind of kept it going to the very end. And I'm sorry that you didn't get to see that moment. I'm sorry that it sucked too much before you could actually get to that moment. Because for me, that's where I was like, I'm in the rest of this film. Whatever's going to happen, I'm fully on board the rest of the way from there. You also missed Randy Newman's Going Down in History song at the very end.
I mean, Randy Newman is probably the bright spot of this movie for me. I do like Randy Newman's scores.
It is interesting. You can definitely, I don't think you can tell it as much in Tim Burton's now films, the last string of films he's done, but you can definitely feel all over his first round of films this sense of like he's picking projects that are very much like, it's almost like he's trying to get back at the world for telling him to not be so creative and just do it. So one of the lines in here is, get these stupid dreams out of your head and get back to work. I feel like that was taken from an whether or not that was actually in the Roald Dahl book itself, which this is based off of. It seems like he was selling a point of like, the whole thing is about no, dream and it can happen, just say goodbye to everybody else. But it's interesting. This Edward Scissorhands, I know he like wrote that based off of the fact that he felt like he had these long fingers. Everyone made fun of him for. The same thing with but you were saying that he was not as much a part of this, probably the same length as he was with Nightmare Before Christmas. Is that right?
Yeah, from what I can see, he was just the producer on it.
Okay.
You know, that the who was the guy? Yeah, the director Henry Selick, that it kind of was a little bit more of his brainchild and
okay.
Major project.
Okay, so ignore everything that I said.
And he was, I believe, the same director. Yeah, he was the one who directed The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, so same team, same group.
Same team, same group, producers, everything. So what it seems like is very similar to that one, brainchild of Tim Burton, but he's busy on some much bigger Hollywood
like
stuff.
Batman.
Like Batman, and this team carries it out like happened before. So, yeah,
I felt like there was a lot of little things that there's a lot of dialogue things that I really enjoyed in this. Where
I love the art direction. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it is not the stop motion. It's not even the style of the stop motion. There's just something about Dahl's stories that I just can't stand.
So you're not I when I saw Roald Dahl in the credits, I was like, oh, let me go back and see. Because I didn't realize this was one of his stories. And he's got the Big Friendly Giant, which I tried 4 or 5 times to try to do the Spielberg one, and it was horrible.
Horrible. Turn that one off too.
I tried 3 or 4 times, and nope, couldn't make it.
Nope.
We also got Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Matilda, which is a classic.
I turned that one off too. Couldn't stand Matilda.
Eddie, that was one of my favorites from my childhood. But then the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Never seen it.
Never saw that one either. That was who's the director? He does everything like symmetrical. Wes Anderson, stuff like that. I've heard very good things about it, but
yeah.
No, I thought
The Witches. They just did a remake of it.
Okay.
The Witches with what's her name? Several people who were just in this.
Sorry.
Oh, it was so big.
So what I was saying before, I liked, there was a lot of dialogue things happening with the ant that they were going quickly through. Robert Zemeckis. So first off with, I don't even know what they call him, the guy who gives him the glow worms that give him the ability. When he's talking about the way that they're made with 1,000 crocodile tongues and stuff like that. He also, he says, "You're miserable, aren't you, James?" Like there's things like that. And he's like, "Whatever you do, don't lose them," which of course means that of course he's going to, and he falls over immediately and does it. When the ants are chasing him down and it's like, "Beat him, Spongy." And she says, "Oh, it's too early to be doing this. It's a good thing that happened because we won't kill you." Like there's just like little back and forth things that are happening that I enjoyed. When they're taking the tickets from the kids and there's like, "Admission refused. This child has too many cheeky ideas." And then like rips it up. Marvelous things will happen. Did you say marvelous pigs in satin? Like there's just like He's little, or and then the worm. They took a shovel to my brother, cut him right in the middle. Now I have two half brothers.
I have two half brothers.
Like,
I did catch that.
There's
one.
just like little back and forth things. I couldn't even write them. Oh, when the centipede jumps into the water, he goes, "No, he's committed pesticide." Like, there's certain things like that I enjoyed the humor in it that I'm sure was above a lot of little kids' heads as they were watching this. In general, like I said, once it got up to that moment where a centipede jumps in, up until then, I was kind of on the fence, like, I don't know if I'm digging this. And that kind of took it over. The story took a turn that I really loved, all the way through to the end. But I get it. If you didn't get to that point and the movie doesn't hold you up to that, of course it was a failure of a movie if you're watching that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really happy for you.
I feel like the tables have turned on any dog movie, of any horse movie, of all of those other ones. Because I wasn't like excited about this film, and I didn't think I would. And I wouldn't say I love it. I don't think I'm going to be super generous on the grading of this, but I went going like, that surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. So, I mean, there was a few of the lines that you pulled out. There were, I had moments where I tried. Don't get me wrong. Like I did give it a full concerted effort, but it was just.
You gave it the college try.
And it must be a dull thing because, I mean, we just went through the list. Like, I just haven't connected with.
I'm so surprised you didn't like Matilda. Matilda was.
Now that's been a long time, so maybe I could try Matilda again.
That was a rewatch. That was a heavy rewatchable. But
yeah.
Any other final parting words you have for before we go? Because evidently you were just like bags packed. You were walking slightly closer to the door. Like I'm done. I'm done on this.
So there is a very interesting story. Did you know that there was a musical made? Like a Broadway musical made over James and the Giant Peach. It never made it to Broadway.
Wow.
That just kind of shows the quality of the story, I guess. But it is produced by children's theaters all around the United States. It came out in 2010. And it was created by a young and up and coming duo by the name of Benj Pasek and Justin Paul. You may have heard them. They did things like La La Land, The Greatest Showman,
wow,
Dear Evan Hansen, the new Aladdin. This was more or less their very first credit.
Wow.
And they used this even though it really hadn't hit or taken off or anything. They went around telling producers in Hollywood, oh yeah, we wrote the Broadway musical James and the Giant Peach. And they were all like, oh wow, okay, that's really cool, you know? But it had never really hit. And that's how they got things like La La Land, which took off.
That's crazy. Well, there you go.
That's my one little, nugget of useless information when it comes to James and the Giant Peach.
And speaking of one, I'm guessing that's going to be your rating for this, even if you get to 1 out of 5.
Well, I had this contemplation of like,
how can you not finish a film and give it more than a 1?
Well, my contemplation wasn't that. My contemplation was, am I allowed to give it less than a 1?
No, one is it.
Lowest?
There's so many that I would have given lower than a 1.
Really?
There are maybe a couple that I probably would have given less than a 1. There's no 0 stars. There's no half a star.
I starts can't give at 1. half a fruit snack?
No.
Can I like take a bite of it and then
you have personally eaten 4 of them and there's 1 left because the teacher grabbed it and said you have to put in 1. You have to pay the tax to be on the show.
Can I do like the orange flavored fruit snack? 1 fruit snack? I'm not wasting any berry flavored fruit snacks.
Yeah, you can choose the one that you want. You can choose the yellow Starburst if you want to.
So I put the orange flavored fruit snack. I give it one fruit snack, but it's an orange flavored.
Well, now I want to go and I want to go have fruit snacks now. I wish I had a pile of them here.
I have a whole box upstairs.
Yeah. So my big thing is, how excited am I to watch this again? I think so. I don't know what I gave the Nightmare Before Christmas. The tone of it was, I felt even darker than this. Like so intense.
Sure.
So for the fact that it wasn't nearly as intense as that, and I was like, you know what? Was surprised at enjoying my time with it. I'm going to give it a 2. I hope that's more than what I gave. I feel like I gave it a 1.5 for the Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm going to say a 2. I was going to say 2.5, but I think I'm just going to go with 2. I think that's fine.
Speaking of which, I have some bad news for your October trip.
What?
Should I say it out loud?
Say it out loud. Break it off.
They are bringing the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay to the Haunted Mansion.
I thought they weren't. They said they weren't.
They are.
They told us. They promised us.
I know.
That they weren't going to do this, and they changed their mind.
I know. I literally yelled out loud when I saw it, just for you. Like, I just felt your pain.
It's not my pain. It's my wife's pain.
It's your wife's pain. And I didn't have the heart to like, usually something like that, like I would text you guys or put it on our thread.
Your heart was breaking for us.
And I was just like, I don't want to be the one to share this. But yes, I saw a couple of things on Twitter. Hopefully it's wrong. Like I hope Walt rises from the grave and stops this for you, but he won't. You're searching this right now.
I'm letting my wife know right now. We will see what she responds back if she doesn't crash her car in the middle of the road from just dismay.
Yeah.
But that's a sad note to end this on. We should kind of lift it up a little bit before we leave our listeners hanging in sadness about our ratings and stuff like that.
Well, so I gave it 1. You gave it
2.
What was your official 2?
2.
Okay. Next episode we review another Disney animated musical, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is an epic. I feel like this starts Disney animation really swinging for it, really trying new adventurous things.
I'm excited about this one. This is one of the ones. It's not in the land of Lion King, where it's the first thing rolling off the tip of your tongue of 90s animated films, but when you bring it up, it's go like, Hunchback came out.
Hunchback. Yeah.
And this is, if anyone knows anything about The Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's probably because of this movie, which may or may not be historically accurate. But anyways, no, but that's what we got cooked up for next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. And please go on and subscribe. We got the show that you can watch on YouTube. You can watch us bickering back and forth at times. Or we have
talk with our hands.
Yes, a lot of talking with our hands for Eddie. But then also we've got this on all wherever you get podcasts at. You can go to honeywemade.com/movies and look at all the movies we have coming up, including The Hunchback of Notre Dame next week. And if you see a movie in there and you're like, I don't think that's actually on Disney Plus, please let us know so we can make plans accordingly so we don't get stuck up a creek.
Caught again.
Yep. But thanks for listening to this episode.